He stood at the center of the galaxy's largest war fleet. Billions had knelt before him. She said nothing. She only stared, and he should have listened. The tribunal convened above a dying star in absolute silence. The assembled species, clawed, feathered, silicon-based, liquid, psionic, sat in solemn rows within a great ring-shaped chamber that pulsed with the light of their collective power. In the center, beneath a shimmering dome that revealed the black jaws of space, stood the platform for judgment. It had judged empires. It had silenced rebellions. It had never been refused. General Voroncourt entered like a god expecting tribute. 7 feet tall, a hybrid of war-bred species, forged in the orbital fires of the Vraxi conflicts, hardened in the plasma rain of Necroon Prime. His armor was fused with fragments of the last empire he had annihilated, and his weapon had not been fired in years, not because he'd lost the will, but because no one had dared to make him draw it again. He stepped to the center of the chamber, tail lashing, voice grinding through the amplified speakers like metal cracking open bone. "Bring her." Doors 10 meters tall parted with a hiss that echoed across the massive hall. She entered alone. No cuffs, no guards, no escort. She walked barefoot, not in surrender, not in shame, but like she didn't care if the floor cracked or the stars fell. Human, female, slender, eyes cold, expression unreadable, no military insignia, no translation device, no identification, just her. Voroncourt narrowed his eyes. "This is your emissary, this." He looked at the silent girl. "This thing," no answer. "She will speak," said one of the smaller delegates. "Humans are clever but not stupid. This is not how one treats the tribunal." Still, she remained silent. Voroncourt stepped forward. "Human, identify yourself." She stared at him, unblinking. "You stand before the highest authority in the galaxy, before your conquerors, before justice." "Nothing. This arrogance." "I know who I stand before," she said finally. Her voice wasn't loud, it didn't echo, but it carried. Even the AI recording transcript flagged the vocal signature. Unusual tonality, disruption-resistant, disconcerting. "I am General Voroncourt, High Executor of Galactic Law," he barked. "You will kneel." She looked at him for a full 5 seconds, then spoke. "You first," gasps. The HFY delegate dropped their datapad. A reptilian ambassador flicked into defense posture. The tribunal AI registered a 16% increase in ambient anxiety. Voroncourt's eyes narrowed to slits. "You will address this court with respect." "No," she replied. "I will address you with truth." He raised a claw. "We are not barbarians. We came to you with law. You came with ships and demands. You attacked us first. You tested your weapons on one of our moons. That moon was uninhabited, until your test awakened the sleeping orbital minds from our ancient vaults." The tribunal murmured. Voroncourt's jaw tightened. "This proceeding is not about disputed debris. It's about your annihilation of our listening post on Farron 9. Thousands died." "They died because they were armed," she replied. "Because they aimed weapons at a refugee transport. Because they thought Earth would not respond." He leaned closer. "We've ended civilizations for less. And we're still here," she said. Around the chamber, systems began to twitch. Holograms fuzzed, comms stuttered. "Technical interference," the AI muttered. Her eyes stayed fixed on the general. "You asked for a representative. I came. You came alone." "I am not alone." A pause. "Then where are your soldiers?" "Your fleet," she tilted her head. "You already saw them. That's why we're here." The tribunal went still. Voroncourt grinned. "You think we fear Earth's ghost fleet, your lost prototypes and dead colonies. You hide in myth." She didn't respond. "You forget, girl," he sneered. "We are the tribunal. We erased the Uran. We silenced the hive moons. You broke silence," she said quietly. The lights dimmed. The chamber's glow flickered. "The hell?" one delegate whispered. The tribunal AI stammered. "External signal, impossible waveform, compression folds, memory error." Across space, orbiting ships began losing connection. Engines faltered. Shields stuttered. Inside the chamber, reality thickened. Then they heard it. A low, grinding sound like the turning of a massive wheel in space, followed by a whisper, not a voice. A presence. The AI screamed. "Temporal breach. Incoming from non-linear point. Source unidentifiable." Outside the tribunal, 3 shapes appeared. They didn't warp in. They didn't jump. They just were. Massive. Silent. Smooth black hulls without seams or propulsion. Surfaces rippling like liquid midnight. One ship hovered over the station, blocking the star. Voronkor's voice cracked. What are they? They're not ours, she said. They're not, they're watching. The tribunal's translators began scrambling. One of the ships lit up briefly, not with weapons, with a memory, a replayed visual, the Battle of Farron 9 viewed from above, high-speed satellite footage. The tribunal ships firing first, launching kinetic warheads into human rescue vessels. Then came the retaliation. One human ship, no signature, it fired once. The tribunal base evaporated, not exploded, evaporated. No radiation, no heat, just silence. You altered the record, a delegate hissed. She shook her head. You recorded it, then buried it. The AI confirmed the footage as authentic. Who are you? Another alien asked. She turned her head slightly. I'm the last person you'll speak to before judgment. You cannot threaten us. It's not a threat. Then the second ship pulsed. Another memory. A tribunal base on SETI 5, where human prisoners were dissected under orders. The tribunal erupted in protest. That data is protected. It's the truth, she said. You had no right. You lost your rights when you broadcast the executions live. We were studying your kind. We were watching you too. The third ship sent a final signal. One word, silence. The AI shut down. The lights died. The tribunal chamber went pitch black, and she spoke. Your general demanded submission. She stepped forward, soundless. I demand silence. A sharp crack echoed through the void, something outside, something massive collapsing in on itself. The tribunal station groaned. Systems rebooted in survival mode. Hull integrity dropped 7%. The chamber's emergency lights flickered back on. She was gone. Her chair sat empty, but the three ships remained, watching, waiting. And then they too vanished, back into whatever layer of space they had come from. The tribunal's final report only contained one human sentence. She didn't bring an army. She didn't need one. No ships moved in the hours following the tribunal blackout. Across 7 sectors, data relays slowed to a crawl. Trade paused. Messages delayed. And the tribunal, once the law of the stars, had stopped speaking. In its silence, the galaxy began to whisper. What was she? Was she military, political, some human construct? Why didn't she bring weapons? Why did the sky itself go still? The emergency session was called without delay. Voronkor, bruised in ego more than body, paced before the council with fire in his veins. Delegates hovered in holographic form, too afraid to arrive in person. He slammed his clawed fist onto the table. This is war, no one responded. Are we to kneel now to a species that barely clawed its way into space 500 cycles ago? One ambassador hissed. She brought no army. And still she broke the chamber, Voronkor shouted. She silenced our systems with her presence. This is psychological warfare. They're manipulating reality. A slow voice, ancient and dry, echoed from a crystalline entity pulsing in the back of the room. No, they are demonstrating restraint. Everyone turned. You misunderstand your position, the elder said. Earth has not escalated, we have. The holograms flickered. Someone tried to cut the feed. Voronkor snarled, you speak like a traitor. I speak like one who has studied Earth. What could possibly justify their silence? The elder crystal's light pulsed darker. They made a decision long ago. They don't shout in courtrooms. They act in shadows, and only once. Silence again. Voronkor slammed his fist a second time. Then let them taste retribution. I want 20 dreadnoughts over Earth's orbit. I want their silence shattered. One delegate muttered, you don't shatter silence. It consumes you. But the order was sent. 20 tribunal dreadnoughts deployed under stealth into Sol system within 48 hours. Cloaked, shielded, silent. Their mission was not to strike but to demonstrate power, hover above Earth, record civilian panic, broadcast dominance. Let humanity know who ruled the stars. Only it didn't go that way. The first report from the lead dreadnought read, orbit achieved, Earth unaware, followed by attempting passive surveillance. Then, visual confirmation of orbital platforms wait. That was the last message. The second ship reported. Dreadnought 1 disappeared, no debris, no energy spike. Then silence. The third ship tried to scan Earth's surface directly. It vanished. The fourth tried to retreat. Its engines failed mid-jump. No explosion, no malfunction. Just a static image. A human eye, not a ship, not a weapon. Just a human eye filling every display on board, looking, seeing, measuring. That feed went dark next. Panic erupted. Voronkor was forced to speak to the remaining fleet himself. Abort mission. Return to tribunal space. Earth is hostile. One voice responded. It wasn't from the fleet. It wasn't even from space. It came from the tribunal's private channel. A woman's voice. Calm, controlled her voice. We warned you, you insisted. Vornkor screamed, what are you? We're what comes after gods. Then the tribunal's private logs, encrypted beyond measure, began leaking. Not hacked, opened. From inside, files they thought erased. Evidence of experiments on human prisoners. Covert alliances with known war criminals. Footage of failed genetic thefts, hybridization attempts, forced breeding labs hidden on exoplanets. All exposed. To every species. Every system. Within hours, entire alliances collapsed. Races who had allied with the tribunal for protection now hunted them to survive the backlash. One race, the Milvek, issued a statement. We did not know. We will not forget. Another. Earth has shown us what justice looks like. The tribunal's reputation burned in real time. Delegates began to resign. Some vanished. Others were found floating in orbit, ejected by their own species. Still, Vornkor refused. He called for the last meeting, sealed, secure, off-grid, in a deep space vault powered by isolated dark matter reactors. Only trusted members, only the inner circle. He began his speech. We have been humiliated but not broken. Earth is a backwater world with illusions of grandeur. We have the numbers, the technology, the unity. The lights died. The vault shook. No alarms, just a sound paper tearing across the cosmos. Then they saw her, not in person, not on camera, but in every mind. A vision. The girl standing barefoot in their thoughts, surrounded by stars folding in on themselves. No voice, no weapon, just presence, just silence. And in that silence, truth. They saw Earth's defenses, not ships, but anomalies. Machines that rewrote light. Satellites that tracked intent instead of coordinates. Orbital weapons that didn't exist unless you remembered them. One delegate collapsed, screaming, I see the numbers, I see them counting down. Another convulsed. There are no launch platforms, they're just thoughts. Vornkor stood trembling. You're bluffing. Her voice returned, calm and close. Then test us again. And like that, gone. All systems returned to normal, except one. Every tribunal fleet AI now bore a single file. Locked, dated, titled, Silence Protocol Authorization, Earth Prime. None could open it. No one knew what would happen if it triggered. But every system that tried to delete it was erased. Entire data cores burned from the inside out, a code embedded in reality itself. They stopped trying. The galaxy grew quiet. Some called for peace, some called for revenge, some just stopped speaking altogether, and somewhere Earth watched, saying nothing, waiting, not demanding submission, only silence. They said Earth was late to the stars. They were wrong. Earth wasn't late. Earth waited. Before warp lanes opened, before the first diplomatic envoy scanned Earth's signal noise and wrote it off as primitive, the humans had already looked outward, not with arrogance, with calculation. Their probes vanished. Their signals stopped, not because they failed, but because they saw what was waiting, and they listened. For hundreds of years, Earth stopped broadcasting. No songs, no codes, no language, just quiet. The galaxy thought it meant weakness. But humans don't speak when they're scared. They speak when they're angry, and Earth had been silent for generations. The tribunal never asked why, because they believed Earth belonged to their chain of control. A lesser world to be assimilated, regulated, taxed, studied, harvested. They sent spies. They died. They sent drones. They disappeared. They sent experiments. One came back wrong. It was breathing in vacuum. Its eyes were black static. It whispered truths that shattered translators. The tribunal sealed it in a vault and erased the report. They should have erased the mirror instead. The truth wasn't that Earth grew stronger. The truth was that something on Earth had woken up. Vornkor knew the rumors. He dismissed them. Earth didn't field fleets. Earth didn't threaten. It didn't have to. It was what came after the age of fleets, after war. It had built machines that walked through probability like corridors. Think tanks of quantum minds bred in silence. Satellite webs that recorded dreams and predicted revolutions before the dreamers slept. They stopped announcing themselves. They stopped showing up. And they stopped losing. Vornkor's command center was hidden deep beneath a dying star, coordinates unknown even to the tribunal's new allies. It was built for one purpose, final contingency, a war room of pure isolation. No data in, no signal out, except one, his last weapon, A single transmitter encoded with multi-species entropy, a virus for thinking machines. A signal meant to blind, confuse, paralyze. It had one target, Earth's mindweb. He activated it. He smiled. A red pulse surged across the dead star's gravitational shell. Signal sent. He waited, for chaos, for fire, for collapse. Instead, his ship began to hum. Then groan, then scream, not in audio but in memory. The walls around him shifted, rusted, then shone, then melted into forests, into oceans, into shadows. He screamed at his officers, but they weren't there. Just seats filled with versions of himself dying, burning, laughing, kneeling. Then he saw her barefoot, eyes calm, voice quiet. "You transmitted a signal to nothing," she said. "It never reached us." "Why?" "Because you're already inside." He staggered. "This is a simulation." "No," she said. "This is truth, unfiltered, unforgiven." The signal he had sent hadn't disrupted Earth. It had opened him. She walked toward him, not through the room, but through him. With each step he lost memory. His victories faded. His name dissolved. His purpose gone, and in its place silence. He reached for his sidearm. His hand passed through his own arm. She didn't strike him. She never touched him. But he was falling, through years, through battles, through stars he once ruled, into silence. His last words were not spoken aloud. They were screamed into himself. "Make it stop." Her answer was still, soft, final. "Now you understand." The tribunal sent a rescue team to his command center 4 days later. They found nothing. No bodies, no wreckage. Only one thing remained. A room, empty. In the center, an imprint burned into the floor. 2 footprints, bare, small, facing away. A camera caught 1 second of footage before the system failed. A message written on the back wall in every known language. 1 line. "This is what silence sounds like." The tribunal collapsed within the week. Its members scattered, executed, forgotten. Some went into hiding. Some joined Earth without a fight. Others were simply erased. Not killed, erased. No records. No graves. No names. Delegates once feared across galaxies now feared themselves. Whispers said Earth had a list, not of threats, of speakers, those who refused silence, those who made noise, those who demanded submission. They were the first to vanish. Others followed, until the galaxy did what Earth had waited for since first contact. It listened. For the first time in recorded galactic history, there was peace. Not because of treaties, not because of strength. Because everyone remembered the girl who never raised her voice. Because everyone remembered the ships that didn't fire. Because everyone feared what came after the silence. Years passed. No human fleets were ever seen again. No emissaries. No threats. No retaliation. Earth remained quiet, but it never left. Satellites were spotted, only briefly, around dying stars, ancient wormholes, and places too dangerous for normal navigation. They vanished when scanned. No engine signatures, no radiation, but always presence. Some said Earth had transcended war. Others believed it became war. The term silence protocol entered diplomatic language. It meant one thing: withdraw before they arrive. Entire species rewrote their laws, not from fear, from memory. They remembered Farron 9. They remembered the girl who made General Vorncourt disappear without lifting a hand. They remembered the ships that watched, unmoving, unblinking. The galaxy adapted, trade flourished, conflicts ended early. Old empires surrendered quietly to young ones, guided by a single reminder: don't speak too loudly, they're listening. But silence didn't last forever. It never does. A new species rose, aggressive, fast-breeding, technologically brilliant, the Coralians. They came from a cluster far beyond the old tribunal core, untouched by the wars. They hadn't seen the girl. They hadn't watched Farron burn. They hadn't lost anything. And so they believed they had nothing to fear. Their leader, young, brilliant, and proud, delivered a broadcast across 11 systems. "To those who hide behind myths," he declared, "we don't kneel to ghosts. We rise." The message echoed, loud, sharp, arrogant. It reached Saul in under 43 hours. No response. The Coralians laughed. They moved their ships closer to Earth's outer systems, probes first. Then scouts, still no resistance. A fleet of 30 warships appeared in orbit around Mars. They deployed a planetary scanner designed to pierce bunkers 5 kilometers deep. The signal bounced back, unreadable. The scanner shorted. Their lead ship's AI reported interference. Then confusion. Then fear. Its last message: "We've been seen." All 30 ships went offline. Instantly, not destroyed, just erased. Coraline Command received a single reply, no frequency, no return address, just a black screen. And a word, heard, panic spread, fast. The Coraline leader, desperate, summoned an emergency summit of his highest war strategists. The chamber was locked down, internal systems hardened. Then the lights dimmed, not entirely, just enough to feel wrong. A whisper barely audible passed through the room, not a voice, a presence, and there she was, barefoot, unarmed, calm, not real, not hologram, not image, a memory, shared simultaneously by every Coraline present. They stood frozen, unsure if they were dreaming or dying. She walked among them slowly, not speaking, just waiting. And they understood it wasn't about Earth. It never was. It was about what Earth learned, what they buried, what they became, a mirror held to the universe's face. And every time someone shouted, demanded, or threatened, that mirror turned to look. The Coraline leader fell to his knees, not from pain, from realization they had spoken too loudly. The memory faded. The room returned to normal. No casualties, no invasion, no war, just one change. On every Coraline device where their motto once stood, "We rise," a new line appeared. "We listen." And this time the galaxy didn't mock them. It followed. Some said the girl was still alive, watching from orbit, never aging. Others believed she was never real, just Earth's last message given form. But those who saw her, who truly saw her, never raised their voices again. And in the centuries that followed, the galaxy became quiet, not afraid, not oppressed, just careful. Because somewhere between stars and silence, humanity had become something more than a species. It had become a reminder of what happens when you speak in the presence of something that's already listening. And Earth, it never answered again, because it didn't have to. Final line, the alien general demanded submission. She demanded silence, and the galaxy listened.